A 10-year-old Girl Scout hacks her way through Android gaming.
iOS's speech-to-text feature is revealed.
And do you live in an Android state or an iPhone state? We also take on the Rdio versus Spotify debate today on App Judgment.
This episode of App Judgment is brought to you by JackThreads.
Welcome to App Judgment, your source for mobile application news and reviews. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Mauricio Balvanera. Later on in the show, we're going to have some harsh words for each other regarding this Rdio versus Spotify debate.
Goodness.
Yeah.
The harshest words.
Harsh, although we agree.
We kind of, yeah, we just like to have harsh words for one another. But first, let's take a look at the top mobile news you clicked on over at twitter.com/appjudgment. Follow us there and subscribe to us here. First up, this 10-year-old girl discovered a simple but effective Android games hack. The DEF CON Kids attendee who goes by the name Sci-Fi says, it was hard to make progress in this game because it took so long for things to grow. So I thought, why don't I just change the time?
Why not?
Why not? Well, we've seen this in time management games before. There was a similar thing for Tiny Tower. But what's interesting about this is she couldn't just change the clock. She had to figure out increments.
Yeah, incremental disconnect from Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I thought about it is, this is too slow. I'm just going to buy more bucks.
Right.
She took it a step further.
She was like, nope, I am just going to change the very fabric of reality in this game.
I'm a 10-year-old Girl Scout.
8 years away from running lulzsec.
Next up, iOS 5's nuance-powered speech-to-text feature is revealed. 9to5Mac.com has some exclusive screen grabs from a reliable source illustrating voice-to-text in action. Action shot right there.
That's it. That's an action shot of audio.
Now,
that's what it looks like.
Totally. Apple bought Nuance not too long ago. Nuance does speech dragon.
Oh, dragon text-to-speech.
Thank you. So it's really, really good software, and now it's part of iOS, which should be really cool, actually.
Does it require a data connection to use? Because I remember Dragon required one. You had to have your data always on.
That's a really good question. I haven't tried it. I don't think you do.
Really?
I would hope, right? I would hope not. If it's part of the iOS library.
Yeah. You would hope so. I mean, I have always waited for reliable. Yeah, please. I have always waited for reliable text or voice to text on every phone. Every phone always promises it.
Right.
And it's always like, beat up Martin, eat up Martha. It's always like that, you know?
That's not what I said.
I'm hoping this is the one that really works.
Google Voice was the worst, I think.
Yes, it absolutely was.
That was comedy gold, actually.
I'm hoping that this one actually works. We'll see when it finally drops.
Soon.
Soon. Finally, do you live in an Android state or an iPhone state? JumpTap.com released this graph illustrating the fact that Android is clearly winning the overall mobile market share battle in the US, but advertisers might be interested in a different graph.
The money graph. Well, you can see all the yellow states here mean Android devices. All the blue means iOS. Interesting.
Super surprising, right?
Right.
Our home state, California.
Who would have thunk it?
Android. I guess we're in that San Francisco bubble.
We are.
Where everybody's on iOS.
We can't hear anyone else.
And then New York, where I don't remember anyone having a BlackBerry, is super BlackBerry, like all day, every day.
Totally. But the graph actually that advertisers were more interested in, and this is again from JumpTap, click-through rates
for mobile ads.
Right. Even though Android is dominating
in terms of raw market share, they're not clicking on anything.
No, but iOS people are.
We're a bunch of suckers.
78% of us iOSers are clicking on ads, which is pretty damn low.
That's, I mean, to have the highest number be less than 1% of people means that mobile ads are just not doing what people are expecting them to do.
Something's wrong with mobile ads here.
I'll tell you what's wrong with them. They are annoying.
That's true.
There you go. Coming up next, Rdio versus Spotify. Now that the dust has settled, where does our allegiance lie? I feel like we've made up this scarred battleground in our minds.
It's true. But first, it's time to get social with Annie.
What's up, App Judgment? It's Annie, and once again, your knowledge never ceases to amaze. Last week, Twitter user Miss KB was looking for an Android app that helps you avoid traffic. And you guys came through in the clutch with a number of different options. First up, Jorge recommends turning on the traffic function in Layers within your native Google Maps application. To get there, just go to the Layers tab in the upper right corner and enable traffic. Jeff W. suggests InRix traffic with versions both for iPhone and Android. InRix gets you live traffic updates wherever you are, and he also points out that it's really easy to use. Meanwhile, Rusty G has a social option in Waze, which is a social traffic/GPS app with built-in turn-by-turn navigation, as well as traffic info based on the wisdom of the crowd. Thanks so much to Jeff, Jorge, and Rusty for your responses. And on an editor's note, we saw that TomTom is coming to Android soon, though we don't know when just yet. And TomTom also has a traffic beating function as well. So we'll keep you posted on that. And finally, Zombor writes to us on Twitter, AppJudgment, can you please stop using the mail sent mail app sound? It freaks me out when I'm watching at the 6:43 mark. We appreciate your feedback, and actually, we agree, so we'll be on the lookout for another sound effect to use. But not that one, please. No, that's not good either. Better. And as always, get in touch with us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube to suggest a review, chat with hosts, and so much more. Leave us a comment, tweet us, or just creep silently. See you there.
Creep silently.
Only suckers pay full price. If you love alternative apparel brands like Kid Robot, Hurley, and Stussy, but hate wasting all of your cash on them, listen up. You can score these premium brands at up to 80% off every day. There's a new invite-only shopping club just for guys called JackThreads, serving up street, skate, and surfwear brands at prices that will melt your brain. There's a waitlist to join, but if you head to jackthreads.com/appjudge, you'll get instant access to all the killer hookups, so go now. Oh, and did we mention that it's free to join? Hit up jackthreads.com/appjudge and you'll instantly start saving without ever having to leave the house.
Thanks, Annie. Now, if you've been keeping up with our mini reviews that we call snaps, and you should be over here on Revision 3 and on YouTube, here are the judgments for the past few reviews. Stephanie Chu took a look at InStyle Hairstyle Tryout, the fun hair swapping app for the ladies. And she says download.
She looks good and blonde. Even
Does she?
Says she doesn't.
I gotta have her send me that picture.
I'm lying, she doesn't.
What?
Took a look at Evernote Peak, a flashcard-like iPad app that makes clever use of the smart cover, and I said download. I also gave Mr. Number a test run, the phone call status service for the iPhone, and I say don't download.
And I snapped up the updated version of Rdio for the iPad. Music streaming services, nothing new. Services like Grooveshark, Mog, Last.fm, Pandora, and others have been feeding us music from the cloud for a while now.
Yep, totally. But Spotify and Rdio are the services that have captivated the tech industry with a combination of their social savvy, their desktop integration, and their mobile apps.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's using one or the other right now.
Right.
If you're somebody who's into music subscription services.
Sure. They're the darlings of the music streaming subscription
Well,
services.
they seem to be the ones that are doing it right, you know?
I agree.
They give you the full control over your catalog. They give you your list of your friends. They give you, I mean, it's good. They're pretty much pound for pound very similar, as we'll see in a moment.
Yeah, both services are kind of alike, really. We actually have sort of a side-by-side comparison here. Mainly, both actually offer a free version. Rdio
In a limited sense.
In a limited sense. Rdio has, I think, a 7-day trial. And then Spotify offers a completely free, unlimited trial. Well, not a trial, but it's going to insert Eminem into the middle of your track.
Oh my God.
What happened to you?
Okay, ad-supported is fine. I mean, for some people, I'm not a big fan of ad-supported music streaming. Like, I was never a Pandora guy. Spotify has some of the most annoying ads ever because they will insert almost an entire song in the middle of your playlist.
Not even related to the genre.
No, so I was listening to My Bloody Valentine, and then they gave me a new Eminem track, and I was like, that's not going over well with my head right now.
But you can also buy into the service, of course. $5 will give you access to the desktop versions for each one. $10 will give you access to the mobile applications.
So they're both exactly the same there in terms of pricing.
Sure.
Minus the way they handle free stuff. Both have high bitrate playback.
Yes.
Unspecified high bitrate playback.
No one will say what that bitrate is.
Right. They will not go on record. All they say is CD quality.
CD quality.
Which we all know is already wrong.
Yeah.
Right? You can't compress music and have it in CD quality.
Not CD quality.
Speaking of comparisons, both feature the catalog of the 4 major record labels. Sort of.
Sort of. Well, so they all claim their numbers of how big their library is. I haven't really had any trouble finding things. I actually asked people on Google Plus what they thought of each. And,
yes.
And we had people in 2 camps each saying, well, I couldn't find my favorite band, blah, 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 so I'm going with the other one. So.
Yeah, so I mean, they both have holes, and it's kind of like you just have to figure out which one has the most holes for you.
Right.
And an easy way to do that is they both actually have match collection functionality. So they hook up to your iTunes, and they go, okay, well, let's see what you've got, and I'll find it.
That's actually a good, I think, introduction for people, because I think a lot of people really want to see this as iTunes. They don't really understand it. So it actually helped me a lot get into it, because I saw my iTunes library there, and that was a jumping off point to do the discovery and the sharing and all that.
And it's hard, because I think if you have to start from scratch, you don't even know where to begin or how to build a library.
Right.
And they both have different metaphors for how your library is built and everything. So it becomes kind of a stumbling block, like you said. But the match functionality is great. Both do Last.fm scrobbling.
Now this is kind of funny, because they're both pointing to a service that in itself does its own discovery and does its own really cool stuff.
Yeah.
But we've kind of forgotten about them.
Yeah, you don't think of Last.fm as a streaming music service anymore.
No.
They also both have social networking.
Right.
Which also takes the place of kind of Last.fm, but they both handle the social networking thing very differently as well.
Very differently, and that's I think where we sort of decide which is the best, because they're so similar up to the way you interact with other people, the way you deal with playlists, the way you see what other people are listening to.
I mean, Rdio versus Spotify. Okay, Spotify, to share with your friends, you have to build a playlist and share that playlist. Now, I don't know about you. I mean, well, I do know about you. You're a DJ. You build playlists.
That's what I do.
Most people don't build playlists. I don't take the time to do that.
Sure.
So what Rdio does that's great is it actually shows me, without like having to go in and forcibly share, my friends can see what I'm adding to, like what music I'm adding to my collection.
Right.
I can see what music they're adding to their collection.
Sure.
I can see what's in heavy rotation amongst all my friends. And then if my friends do make a playlist, I automatically have access to it.
Now, again, this is all assuming this is what you want to do with your streaming service.
Some people are not into that. Like, I feel like some people don't worry as much about the discovery and the social aspects.
Sure.
And that's fine. I mean, that's the way we're all used to listening to music, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like pushing forward, that's going to be so much more important, especially as like we all kind of drop record labels and radio stations out of our lives.
Right.
Where are you going to find new music if not through your friends and your social network?
There was a few people on Google Plus that weren't even interested. They said, I just use Amazon Music, or I just use Google Music.
But those are two different things.
They are very different things, and maybe that's the stumbling block here. People aren't really wrapping their heads around what these services really are meant to do.
Sure. So I mean, when you're using an Amazon Music or a Google Music, it's literally putting your music library into the cloud, and you have to. And this is assuming you're also the sort of person that wants to buy album by album.
Sure.
Which I'm not. I like the kind of all-you-can-eat, discover new tunes, listen to them, get bored of them. You know, I get tired of albums in 3 weeks. I don't need them cluttering up my hard drive. So overall,
I think we've made it pretty clear.
Yep, we are Rdio fans.
Yeah.
So let us know what you think of both Rdio and Spotify over at our Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook.
Yep, and if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe.
I am Anthony Carboni.
I'm Mauricio Balvanera, and we'll see you next week.